Hey friends, welcome back to my channel. Today, we're diving into something no one really teaches us: how to master deep conversations with women. Not surface-level talk, not flirty one-liners, but the kind of real dialogue that makes her stop scrolling, look you in the eyes, and say, "Wow, he actually gets it." In this fast-paced digital world, where conversations often die in emojis and dry texts, the art of speaking from the soul is slowly disappearing. We swipe, we ghost, we move on. But deep down, both men and women are craving more: emotional connection, presence, truth. And believe it or not, the men who understand this, they stand out like light in the dark. As philosopher Søren Kierkegaard once said, "The most painful state of being is remembering the future, particularly the one you'll never have." Imagine being 60 and realizing you never truly connected, not with your words, not with your heart. We're not letting that happen. This video isn't about pickup lines or fake confidence. It's about becoming the kind of man who knows how to really listen, reflect, ask better questions, and speak with intention. The kind of man who doesn't just get girls, but understands women, their rhythms, their silence, their joy, their vulnerability. And let's be real, TikTok trends and Instagram reels have trained us to keep things short, flashy, and shallow. But deep women are out there, waiting for someone to meet them at that same depth. If you can master this skill, not only will your romantic relationships transform, so will your friendships, your leadership, your very sense of masculinity. Today we'll uncover 5 powerful secrets that will reshape the way you talk to and connect with women. Secrets rooted in Stoic calm, modern insight, and timeless emotional intelligence. So, sit back, take a deep breath, and open your heart, because by the end of this video, you'll never talk the same way again. Let's go. Let's start. Number 1. Listen with presence, not with intention to reply. In a world where most people are just waiting for their turn to talk, one of the most powerful things you can offer a woman is true, undivided presence. Sounds simple, right? But in reality, very few people actually know how to listen deeply, attentively, and without an agenda. When most men engage in conversation, especially with women they're interested in, they unconsciously listen with one goal: to impress, to respond quickly, or worse, to steer the conversation toward themselves. But women, especially emotionally intelligent ones, can sense this instantly. They don't just hear your words, they feel your energy. If your mind is drifting, if your eyes flicker toward your phone, if your responses are rushed or rehearsed, she will feel unseen. Stoic philosopher Epictetus once said, "We have 2 ears and 1 mouth so that we can listen twice as much as we speak." This isn't just a clever quote, it's the foundation of meaningful dialogue. When you listen without interrupting, without judging, and without needing to win the moment, something magical happens. She opens up. She feels safe. She feels understood. And from that space, the conversation goes from ordinary to unforgettable. Think of it like this. In a society addicted to fast replies and dopamine hits, your calm attention becomes rare currency. And what's rare becomes valuable. You don't need flashy stories or over-the-top charm. What you need is to slow down, put the phone away, maintain gentle eye contact, nod with intention, ask follow-up questions that show you actually heard what she said, not just the surface, but the emotion behind it. For example, if she tells you she's tired of being judged at work, don't respond with your own story. Say something like, "That sounds exhausting. Do you feel like you have to put on a mask just to get through the day?" That one question shows empathy. It shows depth. It shows that you're not just hearing her, you're feeling with her. And here's the secret no one tells you. Most women are not waiting to be impressed. They're waiting to be seen. Listening without the intention to reply without the urge to fix or advise, is one of the most masculine things you can do, because it takes strength to hold silence. It takes emotional maturity to be fully present, and it takes a man who knows his own value to let a woman speak, not just to be heard, but to be felt. So, if you want to master deep conversations with women, don't focus on saying the right thing. Focus on being fully there when she speaks. That's the real beginning of connection. Number 2, share, don't perform. Vulnerability creates trust. Most men think that to capture a woman's attention, they need to be impressive, tell exciting stories, list achievements, showcase confidence like it's a performance. But here's the truth. The deepest conversations aren't built on impressing. They're built on revealing. Women don't fall for perfect men. They fall for real men. And nothing is more real, more disarming, and more magnetic than honest vulnerability. This doesn't mean dumping trauma or complaining. It means allowing her to see what's underneath the surface. Your fears, your failures, your quiet dreams, the parts of you that aren't polished. That's where intimacy lives. As Brené Brown, a modern researcher on vulnerability, said, "Vulnerability is not winning or losing. It's having the courage to show up and be seen when we have no control over the outcome." Now read that again. Show up and be seen. That's the key. In today's world, where most men hide behind confidence or silence, showing a woman your inner landscape is not weakness, it's strength. Let's say you're talking about your job. Most guys might boast about how busy they are or how important they feel, but a deeper approach sounds like this. Honestly, sometimes I wonder if I'm doing what I'm meant to do. Like, I'm good at it, but I don't always feel fulfilled. You ever feel that way? In that one sentence, you've dropped the mask. You've invited her into something real, and you've created space for her to open up in return. That's where trust is built, not through perfection, but through shared humanity. And here's the unexpected twist. When you're vulnerable, you actually come off more confident, because it shows you're not afraid of your own emotional landscape. It shows you've faced your shadows and you're not pretending to be someone you're not. Stoicism isn't about being emotionless. It's about mastering your emotions, not denying them. As Marcus Aurelius said, "If it is not right, do not do it. If it is not true, do not say it." That includes how you show up in conversation. If what you're saying isn't coming from truth, from depth, from your authentic voice, it will fall flat. But when you speak from your heart, even imperfectly, you invite her to meet you there. In a world of curated images and surface-level flirting, a man who speaks from his soul will always stand out, not as a showman, but as a safe place. And that's rare. So remember, don't perform, reveal. Don't try to be perfect, be present. Because deep conversations aren't about being impressive, they're about being real enough to be remembered. Number 3, don't rush the depth, let silence breathe. In our fast-paced, swipe-left culture, most conversations are like microwave meals, quick, hot, and ultimately forgettable. But if you want to master the art of deep connection with a woman, you need to understand this. Depth requires space. Emotional connection doesn't happen in a rush. It happens in the pauses. We're conditioned to believe that silence is awkward, that we must fill every gap with words, jokes, or questions. But that's not true. Some of the most powerful moments in conversation live in the silence. The way you hold her gaze after she shares something vulnerable, the calm between questions, the moment you let a thought linger before responding. As the philosopher Rumi once wrote, "The quieter you become, the more you are able to hear." When you're not rushing to speak, you're actually doing something few men ever do. You're listening with presence. You're creating a space where she can slow down, think, and feel. That's magnetic. Think about it. In a world where most men are trying to impress, overtalk, or move things forward too quickly, the man who knows how to be still stands out. Not because he's silent, but because he's intentional. Deep conversation isn't just about what you say, it's about what you allow. And when you allow a woman to feel safe in the silence, she'll begin to reveal more than you could ever ask with words. Here's a simple example. Imagine she's telling you about a conflict she had with her friend. Most guys would jump in immediately with advice, or worse, try to relate by interrupting, "Oh yeah, something like that happened to me too." But the emotionally intelligent man, he listens, he nods, he lets her speak. And when there's a pause, he might simply say, "That sounds heavy. How did that make you feel?" No rush, no fix, just space. And guess what? That moment, that pause, is where trust is built. She begins to sense that you're not just hearing her, you're feeling her. And that's where true connection lives. As Lao Tzu once said, silence is a source of great strength. You don't need to be the funniest, smartest, or most dominant guy in the room. You just need to be the man who can hold space for the pause, for the reflection, for the moment that makes her feel truly seen. When you learn to slow down the pace of your conversations, you give room for depth to grow. And once a woman experiences that kind of emotional safety with you, you become unforgettable. So remember, don't rush the moment, let the silence breathe, because in the quiet, everything real begins. Number 4, ask questions that unlock the soul, not just the story. Most men ask questions that skim the surface. What do you do for work? Where are you from? What's your favorite movie? These are fine for small talk. But if you want a woman to feel emotionally seen, you need to go deeper. You need to ask the kind of questions that open a door inside her, the ones she doesn't get asked often, even by people close to her. Why? Because deep conversations aren't about collecting facts, they're about inviting feeling. The human soul doesn't unfold with logic. It opens when it feels safe, curious, and surprised by its own vulnerability. Let's bring in philosopher Carl Jung, who said, "Your vision will become clear only when you look into your heart. Who looks outside dreams. Who looks inside awakens." Now imagine you're in a conversation and instead of asking, "Where did you grow up?" you ask, "What's a memory from childhood that still lives inside you in a good way?" Or rather than, "What kind of music do you like?" Try, "What song takes you back to a time you didn't know you needed?" These questions do something powerful. They pull her into herself. They make her pause, smile, remember, reflect, and when she shares, she feels felt, not just heard. In a time when surface-level connection dominates dating apps and Instagram captions, being the man who explores beneath the mask is rare, and rare is magnetic. But here's a critical piece. Don't just ask deep questions for the sake of depth. You must be genuinely curious. You have to actually care about what she says and not just wait for your turn to speak. This is what sets apart Stoic communication from manipulation. You're not digging for vulnerability to impress her. You're creating a sacred space where truth feels welcome. When she shares something real, don't rush to add your own story or opinion. Instead, explore her experience. Say, "That sounds beautiful. What made that moment so meaningful for you? How did that change the way you see things now?" The goal is to be present, not performative. Remember this quote from Alain de Botton: "Being deeply loved by someone gives you strength, while loving someone deeply gives you courage." And courage in conversation means creating the kind of dialogue where both people can feel safe and seen, not judged or evaluated. So, next time you speak with her, go beyond the usual. Ask the questions that lead to quiet smiles, long pauses, and stories that have never been told before, because that's where real intimacy is born. Not in the facts of who she is, but in the feelings that made her that way. That's the art. That's the connection. Number 5, learn to hear what she's not saying. In any deep conversation, the words spoken are just the surface. Real communication lives in the pauses, the hesitations, the shifts in her tone, and the glances she thinks you didn't notice. If you truly want to master deep conversation with a woman, you must learn the art of listening to what is unspoken, the language of silence, energy, and emotion. A woman might say, "I'm fine," but her voice may waver, her smile may falter. That's when a stoic man doesn't just nod and move on. He listens with presence, not assumption. The philosopher Epictetus once said, "We have 2 ears and 1 mouth so that we can listen twice as much as we speak." In modern relationships, especially in a world of instant messaging and short attention spans, the ability to read emotional undercurrents is a dying art. Most people respond, they don't attune. They wait for their turn to talk rather than hearing what's alive in the silence. But when a woman senses that you're truly tuned in, when she sees that you notice her energy, her shifts, her subtle emotional cues, it creates a trust so rare, it's almost sacred. This doesn't mean you interrogate her. It means you observe with compassion, not control. Let's say she suddenly becomes quiet mid-conversation. You could ignore it, or you could gently ask, "Hey, your energy just shifted. Are you okay? You don't have to talk if you're not ready. I just wanted you to know I noticed." That small moment, it's everything. It tells her, you're safe, you're paying attention. You care about more than just her words. You care about her truth. And that kind of attention is healing. It's what most people, not just women, deeply crave, yet rarely receive. In this, you become not just a man she talks to, but a man who feels her without needing her to explain. But to do this, you must slow down, breathe, stay present. Don't fill every pause with noise. Some of the most powerful moments in deep conversation are found between the words. In the age of overstimulation and shallow engagement, your stillness becomes her invitation to drop the mask. As the great Khalil Gibran wrote, "Between what is said and not meant, and what is meant and not said, most of love is lost. Don't let it be lost with you. Train your emotional radar. Listen with your whole body, eyes, breath, energy, because sometimes the most important thing she wants to say will never come out in words. And when you can meet her there, in the unspoken, the subtle, the raw, you don't just create connection. You create depth. You create safety. You create a space where truth doesn't have to hide. That's how deep conversations are born, not through speaking more, but by learning to hear what most ignore. Conclusion. So, my friend, if you've made it this far, pause for a second. Because what we've uncovered today goes beyond just talking to women. This is about becoming a man who knows how to hold space, a man who listens not just with his ears, but with his presence, a man who doesn't seek validation, but offers depth. In a world where small talk dominates and attention spans are fleeting, the ability to create a real, meaningful conversation is rare. And that rarity? It's powerful. You don't need fancy lines. You don't need to impress her with stories. What she's longing for, whether she says it or not, is a man who sees her, hears her, and stays present without trying to fix or control. That's what Stoicism teaches us too, to be rooted in ourselves, to master our own emotions, so we can hold space for others, not from ego, but from strength. So next time you sit across from her, whether it's a date, a deep moment, or a simple walk, remember, it's not about what you say. It's about how you make her feel safe enough to say what she's never told anyone else. If this resonated with you, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, because we're building a tribe of grounded, emotionally aware men. Now go out there and speak less, but feel more. Your presence is your superpower. Use it wisely.